The Hitler Youth. The founding of the Hitler Youth. The Hitler Youth was founded in the year 1926, but was previously called Junksturm, which was an arm of the German stormtroopers for the development of their future military. A girls' branch of the Hitler Youth was made called BDM, which stands for Bund Deutscher Modell. In English, that means the German League of Girls. The German League of Girls took a more idealistic approach in the war. The girls would become the political compass of families at home, as well as being trained in propaganda and bringing more people over to the Nazi Party. By 1939, being in the Hitler Youth became a requirement for any kids from the age 10 to 18 and had 90% of the German youth under its control. The purpose of the Hitler Youth. The original purpose was to teach the young boys of Germany how to be a stormtrooper, or how to prepare themselves to become one. They would also teach them ideals of Nazism and what they should believe. Once Hitler came into power, the Hitler Youth became a Nazi training camp, teaching these kids how to become war heroes and what to do in the situation of war. They also tried to make them think that any Nazi leader in the future will be good, as well as any new ideals, as long as they align with the Nazi Party. Their role in World War II. Members of the Hitler Youth were put on the front lines by the end of the war because the German army was running out of manpower and couldn't keep up with the casualties of the war. Kids were often left with anti-tank defense because anti-tank defense was somewhat easy to learn. Sometimes they would get about a day to learn the job, and then the next day they would be out in the battlefield. Many of them would be told to stay by their guns and work their gun until death. Lots of kids would get captured instead of killed, because of their age, but most of the time they weren't that fortunate. The aftermath. In certain high schools or even colleges, they would have a noticeable less amount of male students due to the massive amount of death in the war. Lots of the kids who joined the Hitler Youth weren't properly taught life skills in school, so when they came out, they couldn't find their way through a normal life. There were over 900,000 casualties within the Hitler Youth. 300,000 of them had died, and 400,000 of them were wounded or injured. My connection between Mao's and the Hitler Youth is how both got completely screwed by the Germans. The Hitler Youth comprised of 90% of the German teen population because they were forced to join when they were 10. Many of them would get shipped off to fight in the front lines to die, even though they had never joined the military themselves. Although Jewish people had a much worse situation, the children of Germany had been basically taken out of their homes to fight and die in the front lines. They also connect in the sense that they both commonly hold survivor's guilt. Although Vladek has survivor's guilt because of him making out of the Holocaust alive, many Hitler Youth soldiers later felt massive amounts of guilt because they were fighting for a country who committed horrible atrocities, and sometimes they'd even be helping out in such events. They weren't aware of this as they were doing it because they were brainwashed from a young age and didn't come to notice it until they had gotten older.